Oh, goodness gracious. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can't really tell if we are officially live because of YouTube sort of switching up their screen a little bit with, of course, their YouTube studio. But ladies and gentlemen, in case if we are, hello. Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry. I have a little bit of a phlegm buildup, but hello, race fans. Welcome here to the Minnesota Motorsports Park. At least we're back. This time it's for WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series action, and we are getting ready to qualify. Not only to figure out the top 6 cars, but also to determine the starting lineup for our 42 car field for the NXT 400. You'll see that live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. It's going to be a lot of fun here at the Minnesota Motorsports Park. We raced here back in September. That saw Kyle Craven go on to win his first of 2 victories that ultimately led him to a championship last year in the NOS Energy Cup Series. Now here we are for our second race of the season. Nikki Fox, the first driver on the board, at least as of right now. Some drivers' pit boxes are placed just behind the start-finish line, so there are going to be some cars that will be kind of exactly right where they're at as of right now. 22.737 officially for Nikki Fox to kick things off. Jordan Sumner, who we saw in last night's Xfinity Series race, managed to take home a top 10 finish. So, great start. I mean, of course, great start to her season in the Xfinity side, but as far as the Cup Series, it's a little bit of a different story. Unfortunately, didn't race in the Daytona 500. I believe she also missed out on the Bash at the Zoo. So, of course, Sumner, we're going to try to make this race here for tonight. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. You want to apologize there, ladies and gentlemen. I do have a little bit of a phlegm buildup. It's kind of just lingering there as we speak, but nonetheless, Jordan Sumner was at the top of the charts for just a little while, but now it is Ryan Gundillo who is at the top with a 22.362. And for those that are new to the NOS Energy Cup Series, for these part-time cars, it is the top 6 that will move on into our 42 car roster for tonight. Of course, Gundillo top of the board, as I mentioned, with a 3:15. Then Jordan Sumner jumps back up to second with a 3:59. She held the top of the board for a split moment, but then kind of fell back right to where she was at in that second position. And then the 26 of Eric Blaze. He didn't do the best. I mean, of course, didn't have the best of runs last night, but managed to make it all the way through the race. He managed to finish, just not the way that he would have hoped for. But Saban Oskin, as of right now, he's third. He actually was doing pretty well in the truck race this past Thursday night until the game ended up crashing. And as Russell Blaze would like to joke, it was a power outage. But Oskin right now is third. Then in fourth is the 26 of Eric Blaze, looking to try to make his second consecutive NOS Energy Cup start. Then in fifth is the 8 of Joshua Cornish and Bruno Diacomo, looking to try to make his second straight race. Right now holding on to the final transfer spot over the 60 of Michael DeFeo, just by 16 one-thousandths of a second. Phlegm buildups right now are great. They are absolutely fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. So I do apologize for being as quiet as I am. Currently just having to tend to those, but as you see, Ryan Gundillo in the 51, he just rejoined the field, still on top of the board with a 22.315 at this concurrent moment. Giacomo still holding on to that final transfer spot. Cornish jumped up to second with a 3:58 to his time. So now he will have a pretty good chance of making his second straight NOS Energy Cup race. Remember, he was also in the truck race last Thursday night. Well, I mean, of course, because he's full-time in trucks, but as for Cup, he was in last Sunday's Daytona 500. Now looking to try to make his second straight NOS Energy Cup appearance for this year. He has one win to his resume in the Cup level, and that is at Phoenix in 2020. But since then there for Cornish, he did run part-time last year. He actually ran pretty well in the NOS last year on the part-time side of things. Now doing it again here in the Cup level, but full-time in trucks, and he hasn't done too bad as of right now. I mean, in the early goings of the season, but looking to try to continue to. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but you know, of course, looking to try to keep the momentum going, if you will. Bruno Giacomo just jumped up to the second position with a 3:54. That puts Eric Blaze on the bubble. Liam Davis in the number 12 was up inside of the top 6 for at least a few minutes, but now gets bumped to the outside looking in as of right now. You also got Michael DeFeo, who's down there, along with Josiah Munsell, who we saw in last night's Xfinity race. Ray Atikian in the 45, who is having himself a pretty glorious run down in the Xfinity series. Managed to collect 2 top 10s, or at least 2 fantastic finishes to kick off his season down in the Xfinity series. And I would have to believe he's right now top 5 in the point standings. You've yet to get those points entered in. And as far as the full race replay, you'll be able to see both trucks and Xfinity today. Trucks, of course, will be uploaded first, and then the Xfinity series will soon follow afterwards. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Atikian in this 45 has been on an absolute tear on the Xfinity series circuit. But as far as the Cup level, he still has yet to make his first appearance here in the NOS Energy Cup Series for 2026, driving for Trinity River Racing. And he will be aborting and coming to pit road to try to make some adjustments on that car. Right now, he is 10th with a 4:64 to his time. And then look down here, you have the 32 of Nicky Fox. There's Michael Davis in the 30. We saw him last Thursday. Martin Nixon just jumped up to the 12th position, and that kicks Davis back to the 13th spot. And then the 9 of Haley Curris, who unfortunately wound up flipping back at Daytona last Sunday. Flipped over several cars in the process. There was at least 3 cars that flipped last Sunday. Curris was the first amongst the other 2 of Monaco and then Trinity Anderson later on. But as for Curris here tonight, not faring too well here in this go or go homer session. Dead last with a 5:14. Every driver right now is in the 22-second bracket. And how about this? Josiah Munsell coming out of the woodworks. He's up to second with a 22.314. Oskin third, then Giacomo fourth, Cornish fifth, and Sumner back inside of the top 6 with a 3:59. That puts Eric Blaze on the outside looking in as of right now, just by 19 one-thousandths of a second. And with less than 5 minutes to go, this is going to be pretty interesting as to how the rest of this session is going to unfold, because this is usually the time where a lot of these drivers, the times have already been put down, and the longer that they run out there, the harder it is to, of course, try to put down a better lap time to either, you know, improve your position or lock yourself into the show. So as far as I'm concerned, some drivers from 7th on down, we might have to watch for some of these guys, because you never know, they could probably pull something out of the hat. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how these next 4 minutes play out. If nothing will happen, or if some driver, maybe like a Michael DeFeo or even a Liam Davis, for instance, maybe even a Ray Atikian, because now Atikian finds himself in the wake of the draft of the 12 of Liam Davis. See if he'll be able to possibly make something happen here, crossing the stripe this time around. Jumps up 1 spot. 22.411 for Ray Atikian. He moves up to 9th on the board. Now finds himself all over the back bumper of the 12 of Liam Davis. Now he's going to cut low underneath. This Davis will cut low underneath of the 15 of Josiah Munsell. Atikian moves up 1 more spot. 22.395. So slow improvements here for Ray Atikian. To come off of 4. And nothing much has changed here for the 45 of Ray Atikian. He's going to cut to the inside of Munsell and also the 12 of Liam Davis. And Ray Atikian, hold up a minute. There it is. Atikian just jumped up to the top of the board with a 22.220. That kicks Scandillo back to 2nd, then Munsell, Oskin, Diacomo, and Cornish now on the outside, while on the bubble spot. And Jordan Sumner is on the outside looking in by 1/1000th of a second. Can Sumner pull something out of the hat in order to try to get herself back into the mix? She has a draft off of the 45. She could potentially make something happen here. Closing in on 1 minute to go here in this session. I believe Oskin or somebody inside of the top 6 improved their time, but not enough to improve their position as of right now. But Oskin right there in the wake of the 20. Maybe potentially going to try to maybe see if Sumner could use that to her advantage. But I'm not 100% sure that's going to be the case. Less than 30 seconds to go. Oskin goes to the inside of Sumner. Try to get around her, but I do believe... ladies and gentlemen, with 10 seconds to go, officially, we're going to have some added time so that way these drivers can put down 1 more lap. An additional 20 seconds have been added. But I don't think it's going to be enough for anybody that just crossed the start-finish line to begin this next lap. So officially, ladies and gentlemen, we can officially say with Now 2 seconds left. The drivers that will be transferring on into tonight's NXT 400. Rhea Tikian, Ryan Gundillo, Samet Oskin, Josiah Munsell, Bruno Diacomo, and Joshua Cornish. They will all be racing tonight in this 42-car field for a second race of the year for the NOS Energy Cup Series. However, as for Sumner, Blaze, Davis, DeFeo, Nixon, Nikki Fox, Michael Davis, and as well as the 9 of Haley Curris, they will have to sit this one out from the sidelines and get ready for Las Vegas this next week. And that's such a shame for Sumner. She was definitely having a little bit of momentum on her side when it came to the top 10 that she got last night in the Xfinity race and tried to carry it over in the NOS Energy Cup Series, and it almost worked, but just missed out by 1/1000th of a second. Tough break for Jordan Sumner there. But she will have another shot at Las Vegas next Saturday. But huge congratulations to Rhea Tikian, Ryan Gundillo, Samet Oskin, Josiah Munsell, Bruno Diacomo, and Joshua Cornish for making up the 42-car field here for tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to be getting stuff ready to go here for qualifying for race number 2 of the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to add something in here really quick. Just going to add something in here really fast, and potentially let me figure this out, actually. Actually, that's not what I wanted to add. It was something else. It was this. It was this. Here we go. But, ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We will be right back here very shortly for qualifying for the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes. gentlemen, we are back from here at the Minnesota Motorsports Park, and we are getting ready for qualifying here for race number 2 of the NOS Energy Cup Series. It is 3 rounds worth of qualifying. I wound up hitting the wrong button, I do believe. I'm not sure if I did, but here we are. Nonetheless, 10 minutes on the board. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But we are getting ready to go here for qualifying. Here in the NOS Energy Cup Series, it is 3 rounds here for the Cup level. Normally for Trucks and Xfinity Series action, it is 1 round, but here in the Cup Series, you get 3 rounds. So all 42 cars, they're going to be on the racetrack. The fastest 24 cars, they move on into round number 2, and then the final round. Then we'll have the final round here for NOS Energy Cup qualifying, but that's for the fastest 12. But here for tracks that are 1 mile or smaller, it'll be 2 rounds of qualifying, which is going to be the case here for tonight. So the fastest 12 will move on into the final round. Skylar Taylor here in this number 41. Our winner from Las Vegas last year. Next week we'll be finding out if they'll be able to defend that win from last year. Right now, Skylar Taylor top 5 right now with a 22.884. And here's some new colors here for Trinity Anderson. She'll be driving the Meyer paint scheme all throughout the 2026 season. Honestly, some really nice looking colors here for Trinity Anderson. And right now, she's 4th, or at least inside of the top 10 as of right now, with a 22.869. And a lot of these drivers, they're going to be putting down some pretty quick times at the very beginning part of this session. So definitely gonna have to watch out for this as the day goes on. Cornish top of the board with a 22.514. He just narrowly, not too long ago, he just narrowly made it into tonight's race just by 1/1000th of a second. We're trying to look for him. Here he is with Aaron Abel, as well as the 90 of Bruno Diacomo and the 18 of Bobby Maguire, making his 2nd consecutive NOS Energy Cup appearance as a full-time driver. He had himself a fantastic run at Daytona this past Sunday. Took home a top 5 finish, and he is starting off his season pretty hot. And he's on top of the board with a 22.454. How about that for Bobby Maguire, trying to go on into the 2nd and final round. We're going to try to get his first career pole in the NOS Energy Cup Series, so it is going to be fairly interesting. Wyatt Walker here in this number 19. He and also Russell Blaze were in the booth with us last night for the Xfinity race, and of course Russell Blaze definitely had a lot of joy in his voice and definitely in his soul as he saw one of his cars make that thrilling last lap pass. Shades of Harrison Burton at Texas in 2020. And that was Joshua Neely, who was one of the drivers, by the way, for Russell Blaze, that went on to win last night's Xfinity event in a very amazing last lap pass. And Wyatt Walker was amongst those in the booth that got to call it. And my goodness gracious, the reactions in the booth were absolutely immaculate. Russell Blaze here in this number 29, and as well as Wyatt Walker in the 19, looking to try to shift their focus for this Cup race. They both were also in the truck race last Thursday before the game wound up crashing 40 laps into the event. But we shouldn't have any sort of technical issues here for tonight. We didn't last night, so thank goodness for that. We're just hoping for the same thing here for tonight. And speaking of Blaze, here he is in this number 29. That Dead by Daylight machine got a whole different makeover. So now this car will be looking a little bit different, as well as Stephen Walker here in this number 66. We saw him in last night's Xfinity race. And now, as of this current moment, Walker finds himself, not too well right now, 26th on the board. So he will be far from making it into this final round here, which will be in less than 5 minutes. But as of right now, your top 12 looks like this. Bobby McGuire, top of the board with a 287. And with a 237, with a 337, excuse me, that would be Bruno Giacomo. Emily Anderson with a 450 to her name. Then Ryan Davis with a 478, Josiah Munsell with a 481, a 491 for Russell Blaze right here. So he's well on his way to making it into the final round. Of course, Blaze wound up getting himself a fantastic start to the year, finishing 7th in the Daytona 500. Then Kyle Craven, his teammate and defending winner of this race, 8th with a 493. A 507 for Sepp Silver, and Joshua Cornish completes the top 10 with a 514. Monaco with a 518, and Travis Crampton, who we saw just dip his car down onto pit road, he has a 525 as of right now, holding on to that final transfer position. Rogel Dorn has a 526, so he is on the outside looking in when it comes to trying to make it into this next round. That will determine who will start on the pole for tonight's NXT 400. And I do believe he just jumped up, or either that, he did actually. He just jumped up to 9th, or at least inside of the top 10. A 22.502. Wyatt Walker is now tied with Sepp Silver for the final transfer position as of this current moment. There's Sepp Silver in the 57 amongst this pack here, with Andrew Miller just ahead of him, and Avery Alford, who had himself a fantastic NOS Energy Cup Series debut, getting himself his first career top 5 in the Daytona 500 this past Sunday, and looking to try to ride that momentum here into tonight's race here in Minnesota. Right now 20th on the board with a 538, tied with Jerry Rose. And how about this? Roberto Crown Jr. now finding himself inside of the top 10. Late in the going in this first round with a 368. But he got absolutely held up there by the 23 of Avery Alford, who is making his way down onto pit road. Emily Anderson, 4th. Alford actually moved up to 5th that time with a 460. And there's our defending winner and defending champion from last year, Kyle Craven in the 28. He was driving for American Motorsports last year when he got his first NOS Energy Cup win here. Now this year, driving for Russell Blaze and Death Rider Racing. Same number, but of course different colors and sponsorship here for Kyle Craven. We're going to try to go back-to-back here at the Minnesota Motorsports Park. Right now he's 6th on the board and is definitely well on his way to making it into the final round here, closing in on 1 minute to go. Now Walker still on that bubble spot. There's Janiah Hill in the 7. She's going to abort and come to pit road in that number 7 machine. She currently is 25th on the board with a 545. So Hill not going to have herself the best starting position here for tonight. But we have seen drivers win this and win here at Minnesota from mid-pack. I mean, of course, we saw it last night with Joshua Neely in the Xfinity race. So it could very well happen to just about anybody. That's something we're just going to have to watch out for. Nathan Stapleton here in this 97 aborting, coming to pit road. Stapleton, as of right now, also 24th on the grid. And Nathan Stapleton here in this 97, of course, unfortunately not getting his season off to the greatest of starts, but definitely a lot better than what he had last year with 20 seconds added on the clock. So all these drivers that are out on the track, they're going to have enough time to put down one more lap, but I don't think it's going to be enough for some of these guys to try to get inside of the top 12. And not even our Daytona 500 champion is anywhere close to this. That being Zachary Fitzwater, 30th. And that is where he'll be starting for tonight. But your top 12 that will be moving on into the final round, that would be Bobby McGuire, Bruno Diacomo, the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr., Emily Anderson, Avery Alford, Kyle Craven, Ryan Davis, as well as the 15 of Josiah Munsell, Ryan Little, Sep Silver, Russell Blaze, and his former teammate of Rogel Dorn. They will all be moving on into our second and final round for tonight here at the Minnesota Motorsports Park. As for everybody 13th on down, this is where they will be starting for tonight's race here at the Minnesota Motorsports Park. Take a look at the rest of those results right there. CG Halt and Zachary Taylor, unfortunately, they will be making out the rear of the field. Trinity Anderson, Claire Phillips, Rhea Teakin, some drivers that I felt were going to do really, really well in qualifying. Unfortunately, not the case here for tonight. Stephen Walker, 39th on the grid. There's Alex Sanvitali, Russell Blaze's former ride for Durrani Racing, starting in the 40th position. But nonetheless, we now know our 12 drivers that will be fighting it out for the pole. So when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be, of course, figuring out who will win the pole for tonight's NXT 400 from the Minnesota Motorsports Park. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back in just a few short minutes for our second and final round of qualifying. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This time it is for our second and final round of qualifying here for the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. And so far, I don't think anybody has joined the racing surface yet. Oh, never mind. I was on the wrong camera, but we're getting ready to go. 10 minutes on the board. It's going to be pretty interesting. Sep Silver, first one to make his way out onto the racetrack as of right now. Making his way through turns 1 and 2. And first official lap that is going to be he's going to be able to put down across the stripe. It is a 22.817 to start things off here for Sep Silver. Other drivers now starting to make their way out onto the racetrack. Ryan Davis just laid down a lap. There's Russell Blaze in the 29. Now officially on the clock. Now a 22.773. I believe that is for Bruno Diacomo. Roberto Crown Jr. Now drivers are starting to put down their laps. As the drivers make their way through turn 3 and 4 this time around. I mean, as far as for Sep Silver, not much of an improvement there. Bruno Diacomo now up to second with a 4:34. Now alongside the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. Now he's on top with a 22.251. And now Ryan Little jumps up to the second position with a 3:67. Kicking Silver back to third, and then in fourth is Avery Alford, followed by the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. He would complete your top 5 for your starting lineup. And Bobby McGuire continuing to use that speed that he's been utilizing for the night. He jumps up to second with a 22.243. And this number 18 is pretty bad fast, if I may say. Now gets kicked back to third as Roberto Crown Jr. now jumps up to the second position. And now to the top of the board for Roberto Crown Jr. Actually, hold up. A 22.113 as Avery Alford now up to second. Crown makes his way down the pit road with 6 minutes to go here in this session. So now your top 12 currently goes as follows here for this final round of qualifying. Alford I'm going to try to maybe steal the pole away. And not quite, actually. Hasn't been able to improve on the time either. Still remains at a 22.160, but Crown still holding on to that pole position as of right now. In the 23 of Avery Alford, he is second. Then in third is the 90 of Bruno Diacomo. Then in fourth is Bobby McGuire. Ryan Little would start fifth. Then in the sixth position would be Ryan Davis. So the Ryan and Ryan show would make up the third row. Then in seventh would be the 15 of Josiah Munsell. Sep Silver in eighth. Then in ninth would be Kyle Craven and Russell Blaze. A pair of teammates would make up the top 10. And then Rogel Dorn and as well as the 6 of Emily Anderson. So less than 5 minutes to go here in this session. But as of right now, Crown still holding on to the pole position. And I do believe Sep Silver just improved his position as well as the 28 of Kyle Craven. They jumped up to 5th and 7th as of right now. So that kicks Ryan Davis back to 8th. But all these other cars will still get some really good starting positions nonetheless. It's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, the race tonight, of course, is going to be very, very interesting here, ladies and gentlemen, because of course, the racing that we saw last year at Minnesota for the Cup level has been absolutely outstanding. And speaking of outstanding, Kyle Craven with a 22.072. He goes to the top of the board, looking to try to pick up right where he left off. Oh my goodness. Kyle Craven in the number 28, looking to try to pick up where he left off. As I mentioned, he won last year back in September. Now trying to start on the pole and try to see if he can go 2 for 2 here at Minnesota. My goodness gracious, what a drive here for the number 28 of Kyle Craven. Absolutely outstanding driving. My goodness gracious. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining here in this session. Holy cow. We could see Kyle Craven potentially go back-to-back here. Russell Blaze, of course, bookending the top 10 still as of right now. Holding on with that 22.409. And of course, Rogel Dorn, 21/1000ths of a second back. And then Emily Anderson with a 4.42. She would be starting 12th, but still a good starting position regardless of that. With, of course, 100 seconds remaining. And now down to about 90 seconds to go here in this session. And Craven, that was absolutely unbelievable here for Kyle Craven. Just absolutely coming out of the woodworks and stealing the pole position away from Roberto Crown Jr. That was absolutely unbelievable, to say the least. One minute to go. Oh, I don't even know. I'm just speechless as of right now because I can't even believe what I just even witnessed with just Kyle Craven coming out of nowhere. And with 30 seconds left, there is a pretty high chance that he just stole the pole away from Roberto Crown Jr. Let's see if Alfred had anything to say with that, and that's not the case. The time is not improved, but still a third place starting position would still be pretty beneficial here for Avery Alford. 20 seconds added to the clock. These drivers will have enough time. Well, they'll have some time to put down one more good lap, but for the drivers that cross the start-finish line, it's not going to be enough. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, your pole winner for tonight's NXT 200, that is Kyle Craven in the 28. Roberto Crown Jr. is going to line up alongside Avery Alford and also the 90 Bruno Giacomo. They make up row 2. Sep Silver and Bobby Maguire will make up the third row. Ryan Little and Ryan Davis, the Ryan and Ryan show in row 4. And completing your top 10, that would be Josiah Munsell and Russell Blaze. That is your top 10 coming to the green flag for tonight's race. Rogel Dorn and Emily Anderson will make up row number 6. But regardless of that, ladies and gentlemen, what a way to set the starting grid here for tonight. Huge congratulations to Kyle Craven on winning the pole here for tonight's NXT 400. He will be leading the field to the green flag. Want to thank you guys a lot for watching today's qualifying sessions from here in Minnesota. And coming up will be our main events, the NXT 400, 200 laps of action that will go down tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. Have yourselves a fantastic day, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you all tonight on Twitch, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.